Hello everyone, and welcome to the New York Botanical Garden here in the Bronx. This is a world-renowned research facility and 250 acres of public gardens nestled in Bronx Park. Really, it's a museum of plants, and today we've got a special treat for you because we're going to take a peek at the winter tradition 25 years in the making. It's called the Holiday Train Show. The entire Enid Haupt Conservatory has been transformed, and the exhibition built here is these train tracks which have been made out of plant parts, and model trains zoom along them for a few weeks every winter. There's a zippity ladybug now. We're going to walk through and see which landmarks that have been built out of plant parks you can recognize, and how much is it to ride the train if you're a small person. Of course, these trains are model trains that are for looking at and admiring, and you can't ride them, but I think you know that. Anyway, here to show us around is Christine from the New York Botanical Garden. Hi.
Hi.
So how did all these trains and landmarks get here to the Botanical Garden?
Well, it all started 25 years ago when the Botanical Garden had a studio in Kentucky called Applied Imagination create the first train show. Then it was less than 20 buildings. Now we have more than 120 buildings. And every year they arrive and assemble the show. We keep the buildings in storage here at the garden during the rest of the year. They come about 10 days before the train show opens. There's a crew of 30 artisans from Applied Imagination, and they put it together. And every year we make it a little different.
Over your shoulder, I recognize, I think it's the Manhattan Bridge. And there are trains going back and forth, just like the New York City subway does.
Yes.
We have the New York Botanical Gardens participating in the chat with us at NYBG, and they can answer all your questions about fees and hours, because those are complicated. They have different answers for different days. You can also check out nybg.org to find out more information. In the meantime, we're going to walk by, walk along the tracks and see which buildings we can recognize. Here is another bridge.
This is the Manhattan Bridge.
This is the Manhattan Bridge. I'm sorry,
We have many bridges.
bridges.
This year we have a new bridge. We have the Ed Koch Queensboro Bridge.
Ooh,
For the first time.
we will get to that momentarily.
That is ahead of us.
Here we have
The Guggenheim Museum.
the Guggenheim Museum.
This is one of my favorite buildings. You'll notice that the parts of the building are made out of black shelf fungus and acorn caps. All of the buildings here are made out of plant parts, which makes it a perfect show at the Botanical Garden.
Yeah, so it's fungus that makes that spiral, that recreates that spiral that the Guggenheim is famous for.
Even though technically fungi are not plants. We still like them.
Fair enough, fair enough. All right, people are saying, show us the trains, show us the trains. What can you tell us about the trains that are featured here?
We have 25 trains in the show. They are G-scale model trains, which are some of the largest trains, some of the largest model trains. They cover half a mile of train tracks throughout the conservatory. And it's quite appropriate that this is happening here in the New York Botanical Garden because 2/3 of our nation's train riders live here in the metropolitan area.
And of course, the Botanical Garden here in the Bronx is just 22 minutes from Grand Central Station.
Exactly.
So I see some houses that are recreated here. They are actually, yeah.
This is the Wyckoff House here. It is one of the oldest houses in New York City, and it's a museum today in Brooklyn.
It's a museum that's part of the Historic House Trust and located on NYC Parks property, as is the Dyckman House.
The Dyckman Farmhouse is the oldest building in Manhattan, and that's located in the Inwood section section in northern Manhattan. It's also a museum. And here you can see it recreated out of bark and moss and needles and other plant parts.
There are the close-up of the needles.
On this one, it's made out of conifer needles. These are some of my favorite kinds of trees.
Conifer needles. Andrea, you can come out after work. Check the website nybg.org for hours. And because really you have to experience this for yourself. We're giving you a taste here on Periscope, and that's what we love about Periscope. And if you're liking what you're seeing, you should definitely follow NYC Parks on Periscope, because we go to parks all throughout the city to show you a glimpse of what's going on there, so you can be enticed to experience it for yourself. Okay, here we've got one of the most recognizable landmarks in all of New York City, made out of, what is that?
Statue of Liberty. Her robe is made out of palm fronds.
Palm frond Statue of Liberty.
And her torch is made out of pomegranate. How cool is that?
That is a pomegranate torch. How befitting. Okay, we're getting a lot of questions about the trains. How do they work? Are they remote control? Are they electricity? How do they work?
They are electricity. They're run on electricity. And we have a team of conductors who come in here and operate them during the show. They keep them running smoothly. And
that's exciting.
About 25
here comes one. As for the weather, it's the second day of winter here in New York, and it's beautiful and sunny out. Right now we are inside the Haupt Conservatory, which is a Victorian era glass house that's keeping us nice and toasty, and also just providing a gorgeous ambiance.
In front of you is the new bridge this year, the Ed Koch Queensboro Bridge.
So this is a recreation of the bridge that connects Queens and Manhattan, Midtown Manhattan at 59th Street, and actually spans from Queensbridge Park. Here's another landmark that I think most of our viewers might be able to recognize. It is, who can guess? Oh, Andrea, thanks. I think we have the best parks too. Here we've got Yankee Stadium. What's Yankee Stadium made out of?
Yankee Stadium is made out of birch bark and guanamus twigs, and I see some acorn caps, and looks like some moss there and other fungi.
Wow, acorn caps, euonymus twigs. You would never think that those would be something that you could make Yankee Stadium out of, but here at the Botanical Gardens, they've managed it.
It's also the only building that has sound. You can hear the crowd roaring when you walk past it.
That's true. All right, let's see if we can identify other. Oh, okay. Here we are arriving. It looks like in Midtown Manhattan. I recognize
Center, Radio City Music Hall. If you look closely at the marquee on Radio City Music Hall, you probably can't tell this, but it's one of my favorite parts. The marquee is actually made out of radish seeds. Those little red dots that say Radio City Music Hall are radish seeds.
Radish seeds. I didn't even know radishes. I've never even seen radish seeds.
And then, of course, we have the Empire State Building, the Chrysler Building, a lot of great Midtown buildings. All the skyscrapers are here.
Oh yeah, there is Rockefeller Center.
Channel Gardens.
So the Holiday Train Show is 25 years in the making. The New York Botanical Garden is 125 years in the making. What other, let's just take a look at St. Patrick's Cathedral. That's a gorgeous building in real life and looks ever more gorgeous here, made out of plants. What other exhibitions do you have in this greenhouse?
We have 4 to 5 major exhibitions a year. Our next big exhibition will be our annual orchid show, which opens in February. And that's when the observatory comes to life with orchids from around the world. This year, the orchids will be primarily from Indonesia.
Wow. That sounds exotic. We were here with Periscope for the orchid show this year, which the theme was orchids.
It was orchid collecting, orchid mania.
Orchid mania.
It focused on the orchid collecting craze of the Victorian period. People really went nuts for orchids.
That's true. All right, let's find another. Oh, here we are. This is the Bronx section. I guess you've got some boroughs represented. And yeah, Van Cortlandt Manor, which is another one of those historic house museums in the Historic House Trust. Historic houses that are part of the New York City Museum collection. And of course, these are actual
The plants you see are part of our permanent collection. So the garden can be thought of as a museum of plants and living plants. And we have a number of tropical plants. Some of these specimens have been here since almost the beginning of the garden's time. So when the conservatory was first completed in 1901, some of these plants were planted way back then.
Wow. All right. And this might be a great place to end. This is a view of
The New York Public Library. This is the Stephen Schwarzman building. This is sometimes considered the main branch of the New York Public Library, but it's the research branch at 42nd Street. And while they have many branches throughout the 5 boroughs, this is often considered the main branch. And this
branch, get it?
Branch. It's a branch of branches. And this building was new last year. We had a previous model of the New York Public Library, but they do, every few years they will remake buildings, and this one was remade last year, and it's pretty special.
And actually, the New York Public Library, the main branch, is located right in front of Bryant Park, where I will be tomorrow morning for a Periscope of the Winter Village there. So be sure to subscribe to NYC Parks and follow us if you want to check out the ice skating rink and all the cool little shopping villages that are popped up there for the season.
I want to point out one thing. I'm a plant nerd, so I have to point this out. The figures at the top of the building, their robes are made out of pitcher plant leaves. So pitcher plant, you may know as a carnivorous plant. They eat insects, and the robes are made out of the leaves.
Wow. So, and where do you get the pitcher plant leaves from?
Applied Imagination collects plant parts from the grounds near their studios, but they also collect plant parts at the Botanical Gardens where they set up exhibitions such as this. So some of the plant parts actually come from the Enid A. Haupt Conservatory, where we are right now. Some of the plant parts come from other botanical gardens and then from the grounds where they were.
Our viewers are recognizing the orchids.
We have orchids. These are Phalaenopsis or moth orchid. This is a pretty popular orchid. So even though it's not the orchid show yet, we have a little preview of what's to come.
And the plants behind the orchids but in front of the library, I see those out in the parks. They're like a popular...
The pink flowered plants, those are cyclamens, and those are actually winter flowering plants. So if you see them growing outdoors now, you will see them flowering. Some of the other plants are tropical plants, so they may be used as popular house plants. We have crotons, and we have maidenhair ferns, and we have pothos. So it's a number of plants that we may have in our homes or may see growing out in the gardens.
Great. All right. Well, this has just been a taste of some of the most recognizable of the 150 New York City landmarks that are on exhibition here as part of the holiday train show at the New York Botanical Garden. It's the 25th annual train show. I see the Apollo over there. And here's the last train coming through for this broadcast. We encourage and invite everyone to come to the Botanical Garden sometime in the next couple weeks to check out the exhibition for themselves. What else can they see?
Well, in addition to the train show inside the conservatory, we have the Evergreen Express in the Everett Children's Adventure Garden, where kids can learn about evergreens. But we have evergreen trees growing throughout the gardens, including the Benenson Ornamental Conifer Collection, which is interesting to adults as well. This Friday, we have our last bar car night of the season. And the conservatory is open late, and adult visitors can enjoy adult beverages. We have film screenings and concerts throughout the duration of the show, but we have a lot of plants to see out on the grounds as well, and people will be surprised to see what's flowering in December and January. And what's not flowering might just be producing interesting fruit as well. So there's lots to see for everybody.
Great, thanks for letting us in on this sneak peek. It's been a real treat, and I see people here of all ages, and everyone's enjoying it. So it's a really great outing to take with your whole family. Of course, you can come to the conservatory, see the train show, and then see all the other things that Christine was talking about, including the rest of the grounds of this magnificent landscape nestled in Bronx Park. I'm Adrienne Sass for NYC Parks. So glad that you could join me here today at the New York Botanical Gardens for the 25th Holiday Train Show. I'll see you in the park.
Yeah.